The Podcasting Dead is available on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, and SoundCloud. Make sure to subscribe for more podcasts. And while you're at it, drop us a like. If you want to help support the channel and have access to extra content, secret contests, and more, make sure to search for us on Patreon. Patreon.com/ThePodcastingDead.
Happy Walking Dead Monday / post Super Bowl Monday. I'm Justin.
I'm JP.
And we're here to discuss The Walking Dead.
Walking Dead.
More specifically, 3 possible deaths we may see in the back half of this season. But before we start, don't forget, if you're into podcasts in general, be it The Walking Dead, just regular life BS, or conspiracy, paranormal, what have you, we podcast about a little bit of everything. So be sure to subscribe, drop us a like. If you're listening on a platform that allows that type of thing, helps us out a ton. And, of course, don't forget you can always help support the channel on Patreon, where you can find extra content behind the scenes and secret contests. So without further ado, let's get this thing going. So JP, my man here, read an article over the weekend suggesting 3 upcoming deaths on The Walking Dead Season 10B. And before we really get into that, spoiler warning. I mean, if you're not caught up yet, I don't know why you're out watching videos or listening to podcasts about this type of thing. But spoilers, we're going to talk about things that have happened this season and in previous seasons, and also what may happen next season. So if you're one of those people that likes to go into it completely blind with no expectation, this might not be the podcast for you. Just want to make sure we give everybody fair warning. So you've had it. JP, take it away.
Yeah, and comic book spoiler warnings as well, because the foreshadowing that this article from comicbook.com alludes to pretty much lines up almost exactly, man, with the deaths in the comic book from the Whisperer.
Good point. I didn't thought about comic spoiler warning. So, yeah, definitely if you want to wait and read the comics, you might want to be careful.
Exactly.
We'd love to have you. We just don't want to ruin any experiences for you.
Yeah. And, man, this generally the kind of article I wouldn't even read. I don't know why I clicked on it, but it said, for one thing, it said new teaser. And I was like, well, we need something to talk about Monday. I'll go ahead and watch it. And the teaser, I mean, it's not really much to it. It just flashes different characters with like a red backdrop. But the thing they're saying is doing the foreshadowing when certain characters appear, like crows are like flying around, you know what I'm saying? So they're basically, these 3 characters are the only ones who had the crows flying in the background, and you know, these 3 characters also happen to be the ones who died at this point in the comic book. So do we want to go ahead and say which 3 characters those are? I'll go ahead and throw it out there.
Go ahead and throw it out there.
Alpha is one of them.
Okay.
And we all know, or at least those of us who've read the comic know, she didn't make it very far into the Whisperer War.
Which was very interesting, because you definitely, another reason why I really like some of Robert Kirkman's writing, because I expected it, to end in the comic with her and Rick, kind of like Rick and Negan having some standoff, and then when she dies, you're like, what?
Yeah.
And it's a pretty grotesque way, so you're like, holy hell.
Oh, dude, it was awesome. One of my favorite moments from the entire run of the comic book.
I can agree with that.
With Tyrese getting decapitated.
And Glenn getting his skull bashed in. Like, it was one of those moments that just stuck with you.
Really was, dude. Really was. Another one, also lining up, although going further back into the comic, is Rosita.
Yeah, because she would have already been dead for a while at this point. Yeah.
Dead anyway. So she's on there, and Father Gabriel as well.
I'm going to make a prediction, too. I hope he doesn't. Corey Payton is awesome, man. But I feel like King Ezekiel's going to go, too.
Yeah, well, he's definitely was. He got, like, thyroid cancer. Is that what he's suffering from?
Yeah.
I know it's some kind of cancer. And so, I mean, that's definitely not something they can just write off,
No, some people were suggesting that they were going to use, like, radiation from the satellite to...
that would be too much.
To fight the cancer. I feel like he needs to die. It's the human brain works in weird ways. So I keep thinking he's going to sacrifice himself. He knows he's dying, so he wants to go out a hero, probably to save Carol or something. Like, he might even sacrifice himself in some capacity to help get them out of the cave. I mean, I don't know that, exactly how he would get to that point. But, I mean, I could see him. Jerry's down there, someone he cares very deeply for. Of course, Carol.
Yeah.
He loves him some Carol.
Chance to redeem himself with her.
And I think that he might show up and sacrifice himself. But all I could think of is, them zombies are biting into him. One of them's going to bite into that big old tumor, and that's just I don't know. It gives me the heebie-jeebies thinking about, man.
Yeah, if they harness radiation from the satellite, they might as well just totally go crazy. Just be like, yeah, that nullified the space spores, and he does die, but doesn't come back from the dead. And they're like, oh my God, Ezekiel's dead, but we cured the zombie virus or whatever.
If you're gonna go crazy, just go full blown crazy.
If you're gonna jump the shark with that much magnitude, just go.
That's a good
bonkers.
rule of life too. If you're gonna be crazy, don't be half-ass crazy. Just be straight up crazy.
It's like Mike Ehrmantraut said, no half measures.
Yeah. So, and who was the last one?
Oh, that was it. It was Alpha.
Did you say all three?
Rosita and Father Gabriel.
Father Gabriel.
Actually, Rosita and Father Gabriel are in the same panel together, so I don't know if
they'll die together or whatnot.
Yeah, that's hard to say.
Poor Coco. If they take out Rosita too, man, I mean, we already lost Sadiq in a very sad way, and now Rosita. I mean, damn, Walking Dead writers, quit creating so many orphans.
Yeah, dude, I know. They're going to have to start like a foster care kind of thing.
And Father Gabriel dies too. I mean, he helped raise the baby. I mean, is it just going to be basically, I mean, it seems like Eugene would be the likely candidate then to raise the baby. But damn, I really hope Rosita doesn't die. I mean, Rosita, I've always liked Rosita. We've always known she was a badass, but I mean, I don't know, man. Seeing her whoop the shit out of that Whisperer just did something for me. I'm like, yes, go dude. Rosita.
Out of all of them, I'd like to see Rosita pull through. Gabriel, take him or leave him.
I like his character progression. I like that Gabriel went from being this pansy, this almost treacherous, well, straight up pretty much treacherous pansy, to redeeming himself in the eyes of Rick and the group, and then, getting stronger and now becoming a more confident, stronger leader. I feel like his arc is kind of done. I don't really feel like there's much further you're going to take Gabriel. And maybe the same could be said for Rosita, but I would argue, well, she's got a kid, though, so she can continue to grow as a parent, whereas Gabriel's just kind of, I don't know. Not that I want him to go. I've very much enjoyed Father Gabriel's character now. I mean, I hated him a couple seasons back, but I've really enjoyed his growth. It's been a believable growth because it hadn't been one of those, over one episode, he just changes his entire demeanor. This has been going for many seasons to get him to this point. But his death from the comics was pretty damn iconic, too. So it's kind of one of those things where it's like Glenn and what I feel is Alpha's death. I feel like you can't steer away from it. It just would be robbing. There are certain points where they will diverge, go separate from the comics. Mm-hmm. But I don't fit. There are certain deaths I feel like they just can't do that. It's such a disservice to not show those incredibly shocking moments.
Yeah, Alpha needs to go out the way she did in the comic book.
Without a doubt.
As far as Rosita, I mean, we're already losing Michonne this season, and however it happens. So I'd like, number one, Rosita's just as badass as Michonne, and number two, she's about as OG as it gets on this show. I mean, we've lost so many of the earlier characters, so it'd be nice to, have somebody that harkens back to the old days.
Yeah, I mean, Jesus. I mean, you got old Dare Bear.
Yeah, he's still hanging in there.
Rick's just watching from a distance. Oh, my Dare Bear.
Well, Daryl, Carol. I mean, there's really very few
from season one
characters left.
Daryl and Carol, right? Wouldn't that be it?
Daryl and Carol.
I mean, Rick's gone, not dead,
gone.
but gone. Glenn's gone. I mean, are there any season one people I'm not thinking of?
If you are, man, they're not occurring to me.
I mean, Michonne. It's crazy to think too. Like Michonne, I always think season 2 with Michonne, but I mean, she technically Denai Guerrera didn't even come into season 3 when they showed Michonne at the end of season 2. That wasn't even Denai Guerrera. They hadn't even cast her yet.
I guess maybe technically Judith. I mean, Lori, I guess, was pregnant.
No, Lori didn't even give birth. Well, yeah, if she...
I mean, just, I guess if you want to get...
She didn't announce she was pregnant until season 2, though, so I don't know.
But she stopped boning Shane before they went to the farm.
Right.
So I guess maybe she,
now you're going to get into one of those when does life begin moments.
Exactly, yeah. We're going deep
arguments.
now, brother. We're going deep. Yeah, technically Judith did exist.
I mean, that could be a very good point. I mean, if Lori was indeed pregnant with Judith during season 1, then I guess, technically Judith is an OG, but I mean, she didn't even show up until season 3.
Yeah, when Shane, splooges inside of Lori in that one of those very first episodes. It might have been the first episode.
I feel like that's got to be one of the dumbest things, man. You're in the apocalypse. I mean, I understand you want to get that butt, and I honestly think it's human nature to want to, because I think they said in times like studying crisis, like the crisis in Rwanda back in the, what was that, the early 90s or whatnot, that when people are faced with an extinction event that we get to humping. It's just something in us that's like, yo, let's do it.
And it is the best stress relief.
But I feel like in a zombie apocalypse where a crying baby is a death sentence, I'd be thrilled to get the booty, but I would try my damnedest to pull out.
Yeah, man.
I say that, and it's just like you hadn't gotten booty in a while. You just like to hell with it.
Yeah, there's that too. It's just like, I'll probably be dead this time tomorrow.
Right,
so
like,
just fuck it.
I won't have to pay child support.
Yeah, that's one of the perks of society collapsing.
Yeah. But we've got, so let's go back to those 3 deaths. We're looking at Alpha, Rosita, and Gabriel.
That's what this is alluding to. When you watch the teaser, it does kind of make you think. And again, it would line up with the comic book to some extent. I mean, Rosita obviously would be a little different, unless they just do another set of pikes.
Yeah.
Which they might.
God, that would be interesting because, we almost had that moment with Negan in the comics. If you remember, it was actually one of Jesus's most badass moments, in my opinion, in the comics. But we almost had like a repeat of the lineup because if you remember, Negan had attacked Alexandria and they got the upper hand, and Negan was lining everybody back up because Carl had shot and knocked the chunk off of Lucille, and he had was lining everybody up, and that's when Jesus jumps in and whoops Negan's ass.
Yeah.
That was one of my favorite moments because Negan swings the bat at Jesus and he catches it in his hand and then hits Negan in the face with his own bat and then kind of gets behind him, gets a gun on him. But so we almost had a repeat of Eeny, Meeny, Miny, Mo, so it'd be crazy being that we didn't get that from Negan if they kind of took that repeat and gave it to Alpha and they had a whole new set of pikes.
God, if only we could have got that version of Jesus in the show.
Dude, what a disservice. Like, I feel bad for Thomas Paine because, watching a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff, he said that he really, he read the comics, when he got cast for the role and was so excited to play Jesus. He was studying martial arts and acrobatics and just all of this because he knew Jesus was this incredibly badass hand-to-hand combatant and threw kicks and stuff. And then they just didn't do any of that with him.
Yeah, dude.
He had his moments, but just
he
totally
had some cool
wasted
moments.
character.
And I mean, he was, what little we got him was good. But no, like you said, total wasted potential.
And I mean, at first when they cast Thomas Paine, I was kind of like, man, this dude's way too small to play Jesus. Because in the comics, Jesus makes a remark about Rick being so little. He makes a comment about, what are you, like $1.60, $1.20 soaking wet? And you have one hand and these people follow you? You must be a badass. Yeah. Jesus was a stouter, badass fella. But then once I saw Tom Paine in the role, I was like, okay, he's a smaller guy, but he definitely looks the part and he's playing it very well. And very disappointed that we didn't get more out of him. I felt like he was a good asset to the show. He was a good actor. He looked like he really understood the role, and the writers just didn't give him any chance to, do his thing. We got a badass fight with Morgan. We got to see him whoop up on Daryl and Rick for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then we got to see him do some zombie karate from time to time, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, man. Definitely not one of the show's better efforts.
No, I felt like, I don't know, man. I like Aaron a lot. I think Aaron's a great character. I'm a big fan of Ross Marquand as an actor anyways, but so maybe that's why I'm partial, but I like Aaron as a character. I think he's had good growth. I think he's just an all-around good character. He's definitely not like a lead character per se, but he's a character I can get behind. But thing is, it's like I almost would have rather them, being that Rick was out of the show at this point now, and they could allow other characters, as they've done with Andrew Lincoln. God forbid how much I hated him leaving the show, but with him gone, you really do have more of a open book to where you can take these characters and give them more screen time and get more into some of these side characters. I almost would have been happier if they would have killed like Aaron or somebody and then let Jesus finally become the badass that we know from the comic. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I'd have much rather seen Aaron bite the dust and then Jesus just go into beast mode.
Yeah, and I hate that because like I said, I think Ross Marquand is awesome, and I think that Aaron's a good character, but I would have almost rather seen him go than Jesus.
Yeah, man, I guess we will see who we're going to... They definitely got to kill some folks off this half of the season, though, man. The cast is getting pretty damn crowded. I mean, they just, if nothing else, they need to thin the herd just for the sake of that, you know?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, it gets to a point where it's I don't know, man. It's like Game of Thrones had a lot of characters, but they also were killing off characters, a little more regularly. It felt like, at least at times. But with only 10-episode seasons, it might feel like deaths are more frequent, because they kind of, but...
In Game of Thrones, they were just masters of juggling storylines and stuff. I mean, last season aside, but...
That's what I was going to say, yeah. It's like, but the Game of Thrones just, until you get to the last season, obviously, but the Game of Thrones just so expertly was able to tell all these different stories and make all these characters feel like main characters, whereas... The Walking Dead's getting better at it, but they don't have the best track record of being able to make anyone that main of a character except for Rick.
Yeah, and they're getting better with it,
They are. They really are. I think Angela Kang's done a great job. We saw somebody rate all of the seasons of The Walking Dead. I think 9 and 10 were their last two.
I think it was D.
Was it D?
I think it was D.
Long-time listener D, which D, we love you, and of course, it's just a difference of opinion.
If I'm wrong, I apologize.
Yeah,
I mean, it was D.
You like, whatever part of The Walking Dead you like. But, I like seasons 9 and 10.
Oh, yeah, dude.
I wouldn't put them at the bottom of my list. I think the bottom of my list would probably be I don't know, 7 and 8 probably.
7 and 8 were pretty rough. Yeah, I definitely think The Walking Dead's better than it's been for a good 3 or 4 seasons.
Yeah. But, I mean, different strokes, different folks.
Yeah, absolutely.
D, that's not down the way you think at all. But yeah, I've enjoyed season 9 and 10. I feel like for the first time, because the whole Negan thing, we've said it a million times, and so have every other channel that talks about The Walking Dead, but it just was so drug out that... And it's bad because I love Negan. I actually read an article I think we were going to podcast about, but then we ended up not, about talking about that basically Negan killed The Walking Dead. Not that Negan was a bad character or that Jeffrey Dean Morgan's a bad actor. Quite the opposite. Negan's a great character, and Jeffrey Dean Morgan plays that role expertly. But it's just the way it was written to be so drug out that you just basically, all the good things just kind of fall to the wayside. And I mean, I think you want the opposite effect when you're a story writer, I would imagine. Like, you'd want people to not want this to end, and then whereas The Walking Dead, we were like, oh my God, I love Negan, but just kill him already. Jesus, get on with something. Yeah. But alas, I feel like these last 2 seasons have gotten back to the point where I genuinely fiend for The Walking Dead.
Yeah, same here, man. The Walking Dead during those years is almost like a war of attrition, just like, I'm going to hang in here. I'm not going to fall off. I'm not going to drop the show. But there were times, man, where it was tough.
Oh, yeah. It's times where there was a struggle. I mean, you definitely had your episodes where you were kind of excited. Then you had episodes where you're like, oh, yeah, The Walking Dead's on. Yeah. Whereas now, straight up, I'm ready for this ish to come back. I'm digging the show. I'm digging this direction. I'm digging this season. And I'm excited for where it's going to go. I really hope Negan doesn't die. I was seeing people saying they thought Negan was on the kill list for I was like, dude, what a mistake that would be.
Yeah, man, I want to see him make it to the end. I'd like to see Daryl make it to the end. Judith, of course.
Negan's a survivor, man. Negan's just one of those characters you just see. He's a survivor. He does what he has to, and he survives. And he even said something like that to Rick, I believe. And he was like, was it Rick? Yeah, I think so. He was like, I'll make it. I'll make it or whatever. I always do. I think that was back right before Rick slit his throat. But I mean, he's a survivor. So I would love to see Negan make it all the way through. We see a picture of him. I was sent. It was either the Appalachian American or Derek Patterson. One of our listeners sent me a picture of. I think it was Derek Patterson actually. Sent me a picture of Negan in his whisperer mask. Have you seen it?
Oh, no, I haven't seen that.
It's pretty wicked, man, because in the comic, did he wear a whisperer mask at any point?
I might be wrong, but I don't think he ever donned the whisperer clothes.
God, I wish we could have that. Garments. I know that this, and let me finish before you jump down to the comment section to just completely rip me apart. I really wish we could have that rape moment from the comics with the Whisperers. Because, see, in the comics, the Whisperers are way more rapey than they are on the show. And if there's one redeeming quality to love about old Negan is that he does not tolerate rape in any way. The only sex you have is consensual sex. And, and I know we did get that moment with, Pervy Davy, Rapey Davy, a couple seasons ago, and some would argue that that's probably as much as we need it. But, in the comics, there's a great scene where the Whisperers are trying to do something naughty, and Negan just jumps in there and starts whooping ass, and it's like, what the hell are you doing? Blah, blah, blah. And again, being that this is kind of a redemption arc for Negan, that wouldn't hurt to throw in there.
And to me, that was just such a crucial part of why the Whisperers were so, just straight up evil. I mean, they were raping folks left and right.
Well, and for a little context, if you don't realize it already, the Whisperers believe in a completely animalistic type society, running in packs, and animals don't ask permission. They just, if a wolf jumps on a female wolf and she can't fight him off, then, if she doesn't want to make whoopee with this other wolf, she can either fight him off, and if she can't get him off, then, and that's kind of the way they think, is just like animals. Like, you don't ask, you just do. The weak will die and the strong survive.
And that was such a critical component to why Carl ran off in the first place, when Beta took her daughter back.
Yeah, because Lydia had been raped and stuff,
Lydia was
right?
getting raped,
and Alpha was just letting it happen.
Right.
Just like, she needs to get strong.
I mean, I know that's hard to put on cable TV, but for me, that was just such a big deal with the Whisperers, that's a pretty vital storyline.
Well, and from Robert Kirkman's position, it definitely created a new... we've had rape in the Walking Dead comic before. Clearly the governor raped Michonne. Carl almost got raped, but I don't think we've ever seen rape accepted in a society in that way. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, you had seen individuals were evil before, and they tried to rape, or they did rape, and you thought, oh, what a piece of shit. But when you got a whole society of people that think that it's okay, it just adds another layer of why they're the bad guys.
Yeah, man. I think they need to include that. That's just me, though.
It'd be, I said both sides, man. I agree with you in the sense of, man, it would have just taken the show to a whole new dark place that we've never seen it go before. But at the same time, I could see why they probably wouldn't.
I don't need to see it. I don't need, a rape scene.
You could infer.
Necessarily. But, yeah, it needs to at least be brought up. It needs to be addressed. And we should see some guys, jumping on some chick and Negan,
That's the main reason why I want to see it. It's like... Yeah, it does help carve them out in a better bad guy light and all of these other reasons. But the main reason I want to see it, and I guess, you know what, though? We kind of got that, I guess, when Negan saved Lydia. Uh-huh. She wasn't being raped, but he did just come out of nowhere and whoop some ass and save somebody, kind of in the way he did with that girl in the Whisperer camp. So maybe that was kind of how they subbed it in.
Yeah, it could be. I'm
really digging Negan this season, though, man. I always felt, we had a podcast, actually, a year or two back where we talked about
Dean Morgan?
Yes. Yeah, you should check it out. It's awesome sauce.
I can imagine.
But we did a podcast about a year or two back when we heard rumors that Rick was leaving. This was before it was even confirmed. I think at the end we just heard it and we were like, I wonder if the show could survive without Rick. And I think we said hell no, it couldn't, and that Negan wasn't I don't think we thought Negan could carry the show, but I'm not going to lie. If that's what we said, which probably is, then I feel like I was wrong. I find Negan to be a very interesting character to watch now.
Yeah, me too, man.
If he was the main focus, I wouldn't be butthurt about it.
No, man, I wouldn't mind that at all.
But then, what does that mean for Dare Bear?
Yeah, he's never really been like the main. He's never really carried the show on his back. He's definitely been a big part of it, but.
Just somewhere out there in the Walking Dead verse, there's a Rick Grimes looking at the same moon as his Dare Bear, wishing they could reunite. I've read that Rick's going to survive all three of these movies, so I don't understand why he hasn't come back.
I think he'll be there for the end of the show, for the very. I think he will. I believe.
It's just been years and years and years. So if he survived all that, what has kept him? Maybe it's. And that's obviously something they'll touch on. Maybe he thinks that they're dead, or maybe he has amnesia, or maybe he just is like.
God, I hope they don't do that, man.
That would suck.
Missing his memory.
That would suck.
Pull like a Logan on him or whatever.
But yeah, I'm hoping they don't go the amnesia route. That would just be too.
Yeah. Now,
Ugh.
if they want to give him a adamantium skeleton like they did Wolverine, I'm cool with that.
Well, if he's going to have the adamantium skeleton, then he better have the claws.
Well, yeah. Or maybe like a hatchet that like flips out of his forearm or something. Yeah.
Dare bear.
Yeah.
I can also take the hatchet off for other attachments.
Yeah. Why not?
Oh, if you're new to this podcast, we make a lot of jokes about Rick and Daryl's bromance. That's where Dare Bear and all that's coming from. If you're wondering, what the is Dare Bear and why do we keep getting these homoerotic comments? It's a long-running thing, obviously, the love between one Rick Grimes and Daryl Dixon. Mm-hmm. You know, one thing we haven't talked about in a long time, a place we haven't visited.
Where?
A place we used to frequent all the time, and a place that you and I have not been to in a very long
I told you
time.
I'm trying to stay away from Burger King.
Get
the breadbasket down a little bit.
The Barn of Pleasures.
Oh, God in heaven.
If you get a chance, if you enjoy this podcast, you should definitely check out some of our older podcasts. If you go to YouTube, if that's, unless that's where you're listening now. But, if you're not listening and you're listening on iTunes or SoundCloud, go to YouTube and you can go back and get pretty much every podcast we've ever done. And back, especially during some of the Fear the Walking Dead podcast and recent Walking Dead, we have this whole Barn of Pleasures thing. And I think we've joked about Rick and Daryl and the Barn of Pleasures.
God, maybe we should just replace the Friday mail call with just Friday Barn of Pleasures.
That would be funny. We could, write out some scripts.
Oh, gosh.
Because
Oh, gosh.
Oh, that's boy. If Ezekiel dies, though, the Barn of Pleasures is going to be a sad place.
Yeah, man. They'll just have to erect a statue of him right in front of it.
Erect being a good word to throw in there.
Yeah, the statue.
I love when things are erected.
Yeah.
Here in the Barn of Pleasures.
Oh, but I guess Victor Strand could take over for him.
Who?
Victor Strand.
Oh, God. And now, I like Victor Strand, and he definitely deserves his role and place in the Barn of Pleasures, but I don't think he has the presentation that Ezekiel would have. We need someone with some presentation. Victor Strand would just get up there and be like, all right, so the Barn of Pleasures, it's time to fuck one another and enjoy ourselves. And, I need someone that's going to get up there and spread their arms and be like, welcome to the Barn of Pleasures, Rick. You've been gone for many years. Lots has changed. Michonne?
Yeah, I don't know who could helm it better than King Ezekiel.
He is, in my mind, and always will be, the ambassador to the Barn of Pleasures. Yeah. But anyways, we digress. So if those three are to kick the bucket this season, which would you be the most sad about? Gabriel, Rosita, or
obviously not
Alpha. You wouldn't be sad to see Alpha go?
No, I would not. Not with a deep, old school Southern drawl.
You dislike it that much? I did in the beginning, but because we've talked about how sometimes it's just funny, these people that they get these people with no Southern accent whatsoever to do these Southern drawls, and they're terrible. But I wonder if that's the way people from like Boston feel when they get someone who's not from Boston to get in there and be like, car keys, you got, and they're like, that don't sound Boston.
Yeah, I don't know.
But, you really have a problem with the overdone accents.
I fell asleep in 1875 Savannah.
Well, you better not watch Knives Out.
21st century zombie apocalypse. I just don't know what is going on here. Lord have mercy.
Well, then do not watch Knives Out because Daniel Craig, I love that movie. That movie is
really?
great.
I've heard it's really
I
good.
thought it was awesome from front to back. I just enjoyed it. But Daniel Craig has that exact same thick Savannah accent. And I do say, sir, come back here. Very, very overpronounced. But see, it's kind of Alpha and Daniel Craig kind of had the same thing for me. In the beginning, I thought it was overkill. But the more and more I saw them on screen, the more and more just became part of their character. And I ended up liking it. Like Alpha, her accent's definitely exaggerated a bit. But now that she's been on screen enough, I actually kind of like it because I just kind of associate it with her. It's something that makes her stand out, But that's just me. I mean, I understand completely why you would dislike it, but I would love to see her and Daniel Craig in a movie together trying to out-Southern drawl each other.
These zombies are moving slower than thick Georgia molasses.
Sir, I say the blood on your shoe indicates you may have been the killer.
Sir, we've got blood all over us because we're the whisperers.
I was going to say you had a good opportunity. Like, well, I'm no sir at all.
Yeah.
I am Alpha. I can't remember what his name in the movie was. I'm Daniel Craig. Wrong answer. What?
God.
Why are you talking this way?
Yeah, just cut her head off.
I do think Samantha Morrison, though, plays Alpha really well, though. I mean, if you can
She's
get past
a good
the
actress,
accent,
yeah,
I think she plays a good Alpha,
Yeah,
man. Like, she
just
really,
tone it
I bet
down.
it's creepy to be on set with her when she's in that mode, because she definitely just dives into the role, and I think she does a wonderful job. I can see where the accent probably gets on people's nerves. For me, it's just kind of become part of her character, and I actually don't mind it.
Right.
But I do really enjoy her as Alpha. I'm still, I'm still a little butthurt that they never. One of my favorite actresses. Why am I drawing a blank here?
I don't know.
You know who it is. Think about it. You hear me talk about her all the time. She's one of my favorite actresses from American Horror Story. Sarah Paulson.
Oh, right.
Sometimes I do that. Somebody I'm very familiar with, I just completely draw a blank.
Yeah.
But
No, she's wonderful.
somebody was saying back in the day she was in talks for it, and it was all speculation. But somebody had told me that they heard she was in talks for the role of Alpha, and people were behind it. And I was very butthurt that it was not, because Sarah Paulson could have played an awesome Alpha, man.
She
Like,
would have knocked it out of the park, because she does every role.
oh yeah, I just think that she's such a phenomenal actress, and it's like I would have loved to see it. But I will say, Samantha Morrison, I hope I'm saying her name right. I hope that's her name. She does really good. Like, I really enjoy her as Alpha. She has the look. She has the aura. Like, she just is Alpha. Like, she's just this creepy, unhinged, disturbed woman, and I enjoy it. Mm-hmm. But with that said, I'm also going to enjoy watching things go down if they, as they did in the comics.
Yeah, I hope it happens this season, and I promise I'm going to catch up on American Horror Story. I promise.
You should. You're still stuck in the apocalypse season, right?
I skipped over.
That season started off pretty good.
Cults. I skipped over. I got about 2, 3, 4 episodes in. I just couldn't do it. I came back for Apocalypse. I've been liking it. And I'll finish that, and I promise you, I won't let you down. I'll finish American Horror Story.
Well, Apocalypse is okay. I mean, it starts off good, and it gets kind of, then it gets a little good, then a little, Well, my favorite, but it was cool to kind of see the crossover of all the seasons. So that was kind of the payoff.
Another Asylum season.
No.
God,
See, are you with me? Was Asylum your favorite?
It was my favorite. It's one of my favorite pieces of television of all time.
See, my man, this is why we podcast together, because everybody I have ever talked to, my girlfriend, my mom, my sisters, my dad, whenever we talk about American Horror Story and we talk about, like, hey, what's your favorite season? I always say that I think Asylum was the absolute best. And now I did like Murder House. Murder House would probably be sitting at number 2.
I like Murder House.
I enjoyed Murder House. But
I liked Hotel.
For about 90% of people I talk to, their favorite is always Murder House. That's always everyone's number one.
Great, but I liked Asylum
So it's
better.
so refreshing to meet someone who also thought Asylum was the best.
And, I see all these rankings, all these listings, ranking the seasons, and so many of them put Coven at the very top. And I like Coven, but it was far from my favorite.
It wasn't, I've liked every season.
Yeah.
It's not been one season I didn't like, but Coven definitely didn't do it for me.
Like, I like Freak Show a lot. I like there's good stuff in all of them. But
Freak Show was good. I actually didn't mind my Roanoke Nightmare.
Dude, I like that one so
yeah,
much.
I did not mind my Roanoke Nightmare.
People shit on it constantly, but I love the Roanoke Nightmare.
I did. I dug the kind of parallel, like the actors playing the roles,
dude.
and
It was great seeing Cuba Gooding Jr. doing
Yeah.
his thing. Man, he's still sexy as hell after all these years. Dude, that was one of my favorite. I'm glad I'd forgot about that, dude. Thank you for bringing it up.
I loved it, man. I thought it was a great season. I mean, I'm not saying it didn't have its faults, but it was a good season.
Yeah, man, I love it, man. I miss Lady Gaga on the cast. Has she been back?
Not late. No.
No, she wasn't in Cult, was she?
No, she
didn't
did.
finish
She did my Roanoke Nightmare and Hotel.
Yeah, and I loved Hotel.
I think she had a much smaller role in my Roanoke Nightmare, but she was awesome in Hotel. Lady Gaga can just really do anything. She can act, she can sing, she can whatever. Like, I'm not even, her music's not even my style of music, but I got to say, her halftime show, I thought she was phenomenal. I just think she's an incredible performer.
Dude. She's so great. She did way back when an interview with Stern, man. It's so good. The whole time she wrote her first album, she was just doing cocaine like a madman.
Is that right?
That's what she said, yeah.
I believe it.
But no, so talented.
Yeah, super
Shout
talented.
out to you, Lady Gaga.
But this is neither an American Horror Story nor a Lady Gaga-focused podcast episode. Now, I wouldn't mind jumping on American Horror Story. Like, next time they have the 80s just wrapped up, or 84 just wrapped up, the next season.
That'll come up in the fall, right?
Yeah, if you wanted to start doing that, man, I wouldn't be against it.
If the listeners bait us to do it, then we will do it.
True that. But as far as The Walking Dead, who you said you would be the saddest, I probably got us off on a tangent talking about Alpha, but so you wouldn't be sad to see Alpha go. So it comes down to Gabriel or Rosita. I'm going to guess that Rosita would be the saddest for you to see go.
Yeah, I mean, number one, she's, like I said, we need to keep a old school badass character with Michonne leaving. She's sexy as hell. She's fierce as hell. She's with Baby, of course. Father Gabriel, he's never been one of my favorite characters, but yeah, I'd like to see if one of them gets to stay, it would be Rosita for me.
I agree 120%, man. Alpha, it's one of those, I hate to see her leave because I do enjoy her in that role.
Villain. Yeah.
But with that said, it has to happen. It just has to. And with Gabriel, I have enjoyed his story progression, or character progression. I think that he's been a very interesting character to follow, and I've enjoyed it more than I thought I would have when we first met the character. But with that said, if one's going to stay, I would rather it be Rosita. I really don't want to see little Coco grow up as an orphan. And then on top of that, like you just said, Michonne's leaving. We need to keep that OG badass character. And it doesn't hurt that she's a woman, too, so she can kind of maybe step up and take that. And in Walking Dead's got plenty of badass females. It's not short of badass females, but I'm just saying Rosita definitely could take that ferocious angle that Michonne's always going. I don't know. I really would like to see Rosita stay.
Are you still calling that we lose Carol this season? Is that still your prediction? You think it's a lot?
I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, I don't feel like they'll. I don't know. I almost feel like they would save. If they did, it'd be like for a finale or something. Yeah. But I don't know, man. I thought so, but
I mean, that is going to break Daryl. I mean, he's already in a dark place as it is. But
he misses his Rick.
Yeah, seeing Carol go, man, Daryl, that's going to break Daryl in a fundamental way.
And we might not see it because we might see like Father Gabriel jump in and be like, "For the bond of pleasures,"
yeah,
and just lead the walkers away as they feast on his tumor-ridden body. Ugh. Tumors popping like grapes.
Golly.
Oh, God, man. I don't know why that's all I think about. But when he showed his tumor, I'm like, ooh, man, if a zombie bit into that, oh, my God.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so we'll see. That's I really want to say that I think Father Gabriel's going to bite the dust before the season's over with.
I think he's pretty much a lock. I think Alpha as well. And we'll see, man. We'll see.
Alpha, my predictions would definitely be Alpha and Father Gabriel and maybe Jerry. I really don't want to see Jerry die, but I could totally see Jerry dying in a heroic way.
Yeah, he's going to be at the Comic-Con up the road from us here shortly.
Why's he got all this free time?
I don't know. Yeah, that's true. But, man, I was looking, because, I got action figures I want to get autographed, dude. Most of these, and I already knew, I wasn't sure with some of these Walking Dead people, but I think you got to drop like $60 to get Jerry to autograph something.
Really?
It's either 40 or 60. I'm thinking 60.
I think he'd be a little bit cheaper. I mean, I love his character, but he's not,
Yeah, you ain't freaking William Shatner, who, by the way, is
you ain't Michael Rooker.
Yeah, Michael Rooker, I think, is 60, perhaps. It's crazy, man. So I
miss those days.
I may not be getting the autographs that I was thinking about getting. You know what I'm saying?
You could just stand at a distance and hold the figure up. And then, take a picture of the figure beside Michael Rooker. Okay,
here we go. Cooper Andrews. Okay, $40 to get an autograph from Jerry. So $40 is still $40 damn dollars.
$40 for a signature.
Yeah.
Just think when he goes to a restaurant, those people get that for free.
Yeah.
And he pays them.
And there isn't even a Jerry action figure to my knowledge. So
I'm sure there's got to be a Jerry Funko or action figure, something out there.
But I haven't seen it because they've kind of slowed down on. So I don't think McFarlane is doing anything with Walking Dead action figures. I don't know, man.
Let me Google that for you before we go. See if I can find it.
Online. Like I said, I haven't been able to find one. I'm looking for Michael Rooker now to see. There he is. Michael Rooker, $80.
$80?
No, $60. $60 for an autograph, $70 for a photo op, which I'm guessing comes with an autograph as well.
Oh, I think I found it. Well, I don't know if that's a custom made one or not, but there is a Funko. There is a Jerry Funko Pop. There's a Simon, Rick Grimes, the Flaming Bat. How did I never see any of these? These are awesome.
Yeah, man, you need to get back on the Funko with the season we're getting ready.
Yeah, I do still buy them from time to time, but I have to find one that. It's a custom Jerry. Okay, so somebody made. Oh, dude, how dope is that? Like, that's a custom made Jerry Funko. It's not just available. You can get it on Etsy. Dude, that's really cool. Damn, it's $96.
Yeah, those custom figures, man. LeVar Burton, like I got a Geordie LaForge action figure. Autograph from him is $60. Reading Rainbow.
We need to get a table at a Comic-Con sometime, too.
We do. And
I said sometime, too.
Anything for autographs. I doubt anybody will be wanting them.
Oh, no, our autographs will be free.
Yeah.
We just would be thrilled to know that you know we exist.
Yeah.
Oh, but I think that's going to wrap it up for today's podcast. So as of right now, there's some speculation that the three will be losing. Of course, as we've said, will be Alpha, Rosita, and Gabriel. I'm really hoping Rosita's not in that lineup, but I could totally see Gabriel and Alpha kicking the bucket, along with King Ezekiel and maybe Carol. I don't know if I see Carol. Now with the King Ezekiel dying, I feel like where Carol would have died, King Ezekiel will swoop in and save her.
Yeah, and that'd be a lot to get rid of, like in one season, you know.
Remember me in the barn of pleasures.
Is he falling down a well? What's happening here?
I mean, it is a cave, right? Caves have drop-offs.
Yeah, I guess.
Because all right. He runs and he leads the zombies off of a cliff. That's what's happening.
Yeah. Okay.
Can I have that?
Yes.
Bye, Carol. And remember, he didn't really like Daryl, so he's like, "Bye, Carol. Fuck you, Daryl.
Yeah.
Jerry, my man, I love you. Remember."
And then he plummets down the cliff.
And Carol's like, "Jerry, I'm gonna bang you now in remembrance of King is." Oh my God! People that don't listen to this podcast regularly are probably like, "What the fuck is wrong with these people?" But nonetheless, thank you so much for listening. If you've enjoyed what you heard, consider hitting that subscribe button. If nothing else, give us a little like. Helps out a ton. And don't forget to consider checking out our Patreon, where we have 2 bonus podcasts per week, along with some behind-the-scenes stuff, secret contests, all kinds of fun stuff. So as little as $1 a month. And right now is a time to jump on, because we haven't actually worked out the tiers just yet. So right now, everybody's getting everything regardless of what you pay. I mean, at some point, we'll tier it out. And don't get me wrong, even the $1 patrons will still get like an extra podcast a week. But we definitely want to make it worth the while for those that are donating a lot. But so lots of cool stuff there, and there's no commitment with Patreon. You can pledge $1 a month. You can pledge $5, and the day we piss you off to the point where you don't want to listen to us no more, you can just stop.
Yeah, we're bound to offend you at some point. So when that inevitably happens, then decide if you want to pull your funding.
There you go. But so we hope everybody has a wonderful Monday, and we will see you tomorrow on Patreon for our Patreon exclusive podcast. And if you're not on Patreon, well, we'll see you Wednesday for our Weird Wednesday cast.
Boom, boom, boom.
In the meantime, I'm Justin.
I'm JP.
And we're the Podcasting Dead.